Greetings, y'all. Here I am. This is the Self-Care Warfare podcast. My name is Adobe Mosier, and I am your host. Episode 1. This is very off the cuff, and I'm feeling like that's going to be the vibe, which is fine by me. Before I start, I know that on the internet, we do these things called sponsorships, and we get brands to pay us to promote their business and their services or their products. And it's like a symbiotic relationship between the creators and the brands on the internet. So I'm happy to announce that our first sponsor for this video is none other than Self-Care Warfare itself. Self-Care Warfare is a very new business of mine. As we get on, you'll realize that I'm very much a business person, very much an entrepreneur. Self-Care Warfare is a very new business of mine, but it has been years and years in the making. I am a healer of many modalities, and Self-Care Warfare has become this space for me to be able to share, provide, and just house all of my healing capabilities, the passion that I have for it, and just like a hub to lay some roots, build community, and really start to make bigger changes with that aspect of my career. Self-Care Warfare is that hub, and it's our sponsor for today. So let me tell you a little bit about it. Self-Care Warfare, self-care sanctuary for the revolution. I came up with the idea when it was actually a event. It was like a group, like yoga, meditation type of thing at the park. One of my friends who I've worked with in the past with like women's events, wellness events and stuff, I've done everything from display my art with them to provide food. So I have a food company called Cosmic Kitchen. And so Cosmic Kitchen was there. We had our signature watermelon refreshers, which I make every single summer. I'm pretty sure I had my sea moss drink out there, and it was just a cute little booth. We had this was during COVID, like the height of COVID. So everybody was sitting 6 feet apart. Yeah, we all had our masks on. We were outside in the open air, and it was during the protest. So after our sound bath, meditation, yoga, we all sat on little park blankets, and there was posters, markers, crayons, and we were asked to create protests. I don't know what you call them, like the protest posters that people picket signs. I sat down and I thought to myself, like, what would be my message if I was to make a sign, and what would I want to walk around in the streets protesting and advocating for? That's when I came up with Self-Care Warfare. It is my core belief and my true belief that your first line of defense is self-care, and your ability to take care of yourself, look after yourself, love yourself, work on yourself is your most powerful mode of survival. That's something that I've definitely felt personally. But that moment, that exercise really helped me put everything into perspective. And I was just like, oh shit, that's what I do. That's what I advocate for. That's what I'm trying to build community around, which is self-care, putting yourself first, taking the necessary steps to make sure that you're good mentally, physically, spiritually, because there's just so much coming at us from every direction, whether it's politically, whether it's financially, whether it's socially, whether it's your education, whether it's your sexuality, your race, your skin color. There's just so many forces out there. There's wars going on, there's famine, there's genocide. There's just so many atrocities that are continuing to permeate all of our lives. What we must do, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. I really, really enjoy conceptualizing self-care as a form of warfare, as a form of fighting back, and seeing yourself as a warrior for yourself. I just really love that visual in my mind. It really helps me to prioritize self-care because I know that we are, well, I'll just speak for myself, but it's not the easiest thing to stick to your routine. It's not the easiest thing to do those things that you need to do that's going to benefit you mentally, spiritually, physically. It does take a certain kind of mind state. It does take it takes a lot of strength to do that. And so what I have done with Self-Care Warfare is to just make that as easy as possible because I understand, I get it. It's my mission to make self-care, make self-healing, make self-work more accessible. And so, as for the sponsor of this podcast, I have in the city of Los Angeles a healing sanctuary that is open to all. I'm going to put some links in whatever description for you to use some services, and I'll throw a discount code in there as well. It's all going to be in the link. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, please check it out. I am a Black woman and I want to be there for my community. I've been doing this work for so many years, and so I understand how hard it is to reach people. And I don't want to go too much on a tangent. I'm just saying all this to say that when you see someone in your community, whether it's me, whether it's your friend, your cousin, there's somebody in your community or people in your community who are doing the work, who have their arms stretched out to help, to heal, to facilitate. It's very important that if it resonates with you, even just an ounce, take advantage of it. If it's not me, somebody else. I feel like everybody knows a healer. Everybody knows somebody, a community leader. Everybody knows a facilitator. So if you have those people in your life, if you're connecting with those people, take that extra step, utilize their services, see what they're about, check out their message, support. Like, that's what community is all about. And I'm very much a community oriented person. I believe that is our way out of this whole capitalistic bullshit. It's just baby steps. It's no pressure. I understand that building community takes work and it takes time, it takes patience. It is what it is, but I do encourage anybody listening to be there for your community, be there for your community leaders. Show up, show up. Why not? Show up. Try it out. Show up. For your people, show up for yourself. So that was my spiel. Thanks for listening. Again, check out Self-Care Warfare, the sponsor of today's podcast. For the first episode, I figured it would be the most fitting thing to talk about myself, your host. I have so many topics that are just like swirling in my head, but I think it's important to introduce myself. I think it's important to kind of lay that foundation down just so you guys can get a little bit of my perspective and where I'm coming from when I speak on certain things. Right now I have water. Usually I have like something really elaborate and fancy to drink, but I have just been using the sauna. I've been using the sauna for the past week now, and it's honestly already changing my life. And it's available through Selfcare Warfare. So we do have sauna packages. I feel that healing with heat is one of the most powerful, underutilized healing modalities that we have. And so I'm very, very grateful I have that service and I have that available to my community. So I've been using the sauna. It's really balanced me out in terms of just like my brain, my skin, my appetite. I don't know. I really haven't had that many cravings. So water has just been really doing it for me lately. Water has been doing it, and that's rare. Usually I'm like, again, making something, but water's been coming through for the past week or so. Like I said, we are introducing ourselves today, kind of just like on the internet now. It's a long time coming. I want y'all to look at this. Look at this mic. Look at how professional this is. Look how big and fucking professional this mic is. I've had it for, and it's heavy. I've had it for a good, I would say, year. And so it's like I've had all these resources to do this, and just excuse on excuse on excuse. Yeah, we're just not doing that anymore, I guess. We're moving forward. Things take time, but here we are. The main thing that I wanted to focus on as far as introducing myself is my name. Pretty much my whole life, I've gone by Judy, which is my Christian name, my American name. I was born in Nigeria, born in Lagos, Nigeria. You know, 2 Nigerian parents. I'm Igbo. I was given the name Judy when I was baptized. Usually when you're baptized, you're given a Christian name. And I've been gone by Judy my whole entire life, pretty much. However, I've always known that my name was Adobe. Basically, I have 2 first names. I know a lot of people who have 2 first names, actually. Like, the 2 first name thing is not really rare. I grew up having 2 first names, but they weren't used together. I always knew that that was my first name as well. I just registered Judy as my English name, and then I have an Igbo first name as well. My family moved to Los Angeles when I was very young. We just were very, very, very Nigerian growing up, and we still are. I had an accent. I had a very thick Igbo accent up until I started grade school, and it kind of just like naturally got colonized out of me. That's pretty much what these schools are for, is just to like assimilate everybody into one way of doing things and thinking and living and all these kind of stuff. My accent gone very, very quickly, and kids are very adaptable. It was a very natural thing for me. Like, I didn't even try to lose my accent. Like, it just fucking happened. We were very, very in touch with our community. We went to Igbo church every Sunday, raised Catholic. Our masses were done in Igbo. And we would go to Igbo camp in the summers and learn Igbo and learn the culture. And we were part of this traditional dance group. We used to dance this traditional dance called Atilogu. And it's basically a very, very ancient traditional form of dance. And we would come out at the Nigerian parties and just like impress all the elders and all this kind of stuff. Really cool. I still know the dance moves. And yeah, we just very much in touch. Nigerians will, or I'm just speaking for Nigerians because that's what I know, but I'm pretty sure that other people are like this, will go by their English name at work or school, and then by their family and friends, they will go by their native name. I had always wanted to go by my Igbo name. I always knew the root of it. I always knew the meaning of it. I always knew the power behind it. And I'm going to go into that in a second. Yeah, it was just it's always been something in me that's been wanting to do that. And so in 5th grade, I had the opportunity because we moved homes. And so I didn't get to finish 5th grade at my school. I finished 5th grade and graduated elementary school at another school. So I was like, okay, I'm going to another school. I'm going to change my name. I was such a shy kid. I was such a nervous kid, a quiet kid. I wasn't nervous. I was just quiet, and I just had a hard time like interacting. I just had a hard time assimilating. I was a new kid in the 5th grade, and it was a completely different environment. I just didn't have the easiest time adjusting. There was a lot of hating going on, and it just is what it is. I was bullied. I got punched in the face. Long story short, I did change my name in the 5th grade, and I just hated the way that people said it. They mispronounced the fuck out of it. It was just too much. Like, they were mispronouncing the shit out of it. I felt like they weren't really, yeah, whatever. So, and then unfortunately or fortunately for me, the middle school that I went to had like a good 30% of the kids from my previous elementary school, because this is all neighborhood zoning and stuff, had about 30% of the kids from my previous elementary school at the middle school. I couldn't change my name there because everybody already knew me as Judy. I don't really have a problem with my name, Judy. I think it's cute. I love to hear it. It rings a bell. My family, my friends, the people who know me as Judy still call me Judy, and I'm still very comfortable with that. I actually like that. And like at times I'll still use Judy. Like if I'm ordering and they ask for a name, I'll just be like, "Hey Judy." Friends call me Judy, family call me Judy. I knew that I wanted people to know about my name. I often visualize myself older and what I'm going to be like, what my life is like. And I always see myself as an elder, as Adobe. Fast forward to the pandemic, basically. And I had actually been talking about changing my name on Instagram to Adobe for years already. But fast forward to the pandemic, I kind of started diving deeper into my Igbo spirituality and studying Igbo cosmology and just like our belief system. And it really just started to connect like super, super hard for me. And it's been an emotional thing for me. Just having to change my name and having to reintroduce myself, having to have these conversations. I definitely initially felt those kind of that feeling where you just want to jump out of your own chest because it's just how different everything feels. I did have that in the beginning, but I was just like, you know what? Like it is what it is. Like that's just how change work. It's not comfortable in the beginning. So I was just like, you know what? Just live with it. It's fine. And it is fine. It's been fine. Just the more that I've been able to introduce myself as Adobe, the easier that it's gotten. It is what it is now. And here I am. I have two first names, Judy and Adobe. Professionally, I prefer to go by Adobe because it resonates more with my purpose and it resonates more with how I want to present myself as a professional, as a healer, as an artist, as a community leader. A little bit about my name, why it's changed, because I know some of y'all watching this already know me. Some of y'all listening to this already know me. And I didn't really explain too much about the change. I did post on Instagram and a lot of people read it. It was just a one and done thing. I didn't really go too much into detail, but I figured let's go into detail somewhere. So you get the context of where my name came from, why it changed, why I'm going by it now. It is what it is. I wanted to go into some context about my name because, again, I've always understood that my name held a special meaning. I think it's very fascinating, honestly, and I'm honored to have this name. I'm honored to have the lineage that I come from. And so I'm going to break that down a little bit. I'm not even going to lie, y'all. I'm using English words. I'm speaking English. I'm putting this in an English context. But obviously there are differences when you're speaking a different language or when you're speaking in a different context. In this context and this understanding and the English understanding, I'm a princess, like for real. And a few of my friends genuinely believe me. I remember I used to tell people that in elementary school because my dad would tell me, he'd be like, yeah, you're a princess. Yeah, you're a princess. And I'd be like, for real? Like, for real? Like, most little girls think that they're princesses. Most little girls do. I love that little girls think that they're princesses. In Igbo culture, Igbo tradition, having a title is a very important thing. that's just how I grew up. It just is what it is. For those of you who are Igbo or know Igbo people, they're very much about their titles, very much about it. I feel like that's why success is so important to us. And it's such a beautiful thing. We're all around the world succeeding. There's so many amazing statistics about Nigerians in all the fields, the medical field, especially the medical field, because you get the doctor title, engineer, doctor, lawyer, this, that. We want any title that you can possibly get. Our royal network is very, very different, but titles are very much a thing. Not everybody has a title. Not everybody wants a title. People in Igbo culture receive titles. Some of them are passed down and some of them are earned by perfecting your craft, by coming from a royal lineage, by proving yourself worthy in whatever it is that you're asking for. So a little bit about my royal lineage. My great-grandfather, it was what you would call a dibia. He was a very, very renowned healer and medicine person and a spiritual leader in the community, the same way that like a shaman would be, or a priest, or a pastor, something of that sort. And he was very famous. People used to come from all over the world to get healed from him. As a dibia, you're not a king or a queen or a duke or whatever. You're not royal per se, but you do hold a very, very high status in your community. That's my great-grandfather, amazing man. My grandma's father on my dad's side. I'm talking about my father's side of the family right now because that's where you get your history from a lot of times. Like it's usually from the father's side. But I would love to break down my mom's side. But right now we're just talking about the dad's side. So my dad's mother, her father was the community's spiritual leader. And my grandfather, my dad's father, is what you would call an nze. And an nze is, it literally translates to living ancestor. So he is, in terms of like the council of the elders, he is at the center of it. He has a very, very important role in the community. And in our family, being a living ancestor is not a casual thing. If you can imagine, it's not a title that they throw around. So that's where he comes from. And then his son, my father, is the Obi of our village. We are from Nemo in Anambra State. I'm going to read a little bit of context of what an Obi is. This is from Wikipedia. There's so many like breakdowns and all that kind of stuff. So many websites, which I'm really grateful for because there's so many cultures and so many like traditions from other and belief systems from other countries and identities that don't get preserved and have not been preserved. But I'm really lucky and grateful that there's just so much information. The same goes for Yoruba spirituality as well. Like I'm really happy that Ifa and just, again, Yoruba spirituality in general has been able to transcend. And that's what I'm really hoping for Igbo spirituality as well, especially when it comes to being Black. I really do think that there's a lot of value in practicing the spirituality of your ancestors. Really happy that I've been able to just like continue to ground myself in Igbo spirituality and just like learn more and more. Let's go on. This is on Wikipedia. I'll put the link as well. Let's read about just a little bit about the kingship in Igbo land, just so you guys can get an idea, because I mentioned that our royal system, it's not the same as a European royal system. Eze is an Igbo word which means king. Such words as Igwe and Obi plus others are used by Igbo people as titles of respect and homage to the Eze. Igwe is derived from the Igbo word Igwe Kala or Elu Igwe Kala, implying that Ezes are a higher servant of the people. Obi usually refers to the center building for receiving visitors within an Igbo leader's or a man's homestead. When used as a title of respect for the Eze, Obi implies the one who sits in the throne house or heart of the kingdom. In traditional Igbo culture, the Eze is normally an absolute monarch advised by a council of chiefs or elders whom he appoints based on their good standing within the community. Again, you have to prove yourself. It's embedded in the culture. A popular saying in Igbo is Igbo enwe Eze, which translates to the Igbo have no king. This popular saying does not, however, capture the complexity of Igbo societies as it has been explored in many centuries of anthropological, sociological, and political research. So again, we just don't have the words. Unless you know how to speak Igbo, unless you're communicating in Igbo, it's really hard to really fully conceptualize what everything really means. But, king is the most accurate association that we can make right now. The Igbo people had and still have ruling bodies of royal and political leaders in which an individual can be recognized by the entire society. The status is usually hereditary among the male lineage, since Igbo culture is patrilineal. Women in Igbo culture were known to develop parallel social hierarchies through which they both competed and collaborated with their counterpart male kingship and governing hierarchies. However, there was one woman Eze in colonial Nigeria, Ahebi Ugbabe. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. I did, but that's cool. So in colonial Nigeria, which is basically like post-white invasion, they had a female king. Cool. Yeah, and the article goes on. It's pretty informative, I guess. And the title, the kingship, all that kind of stuff kind of got really annoyingly hijacked by British, and they tried to use our system to control us, and it just didn't work because, again, our context is just too complex to really kind of replicate in an English or colonial format. So it was really hard to kind of infiltrate what we got going on. I kind of broke down the lineage. I tried to put the pieces together. That's kind of where I come from, just a little bit. It's cool. I appreciate it. I appreciate just like the richness of it all. And it also just makes sense as to why I'm passionate about what I'm passionate about, why I do what I do, why I think the way that I think. Because I come from a line of leaders and healers, and that's what I do in my actual life. It helps me wake up every single day knowing exactly what I need to do with my life. I'm so grateful for that. For those of you that don't know, so my name is spelled Adaobi. The name Ada, Ada, it just means first daughter. First daughter, that's what it means. You could walk up to a woman with 3 little girls and you can say, which one is the Ada? And she'll point at the first one. So that's literally all Ada means. A lot of Igbo names have it's kind of 2 words put into one. Ada literally just means first daughter. And then there's other things that you could put, like there's Adeze, which is, the king's daughter. Adana, Adanya, Adugo. It just goes on and on. And so my name is Adobe. And so I kind of gave you the context of what an Obi is. And so I'm the first daughter of the Obi. It's kind of interesting where I'm at in that lineage, being the first daughter of my whole community. I feel like I have a lot of responsibility to my community when it comes to my village that I haven't really lived up to yet, but it's definitely in the grand plan. It's just, again, the richness of it all. Being the first daughter, there is pressure. So I'm the first daughter of 12 families from both sides. Everyone's looking at me to be the example in terms of the women. And then I also realized as I get older and as I age, I'm literally the matriarch of my family. I'm the oldest woman in my family. That means a lot to me. That again circles back to why I chose to actually go by Adobe, because that name just means so much to me, and because of what I am striving to and wanting to and am living up to. I just want to be in resonance with that as often, as continuously as I can. One other thing that I did want to mention about this whole like alignment thing, about the richness and all that kind of stuff. So my last name is Mosier, and I found it really, really fascinating and really cool what my name actually translates to. And before I mention that, there's one other thing that I did want to bring up. So it's very, very common in Igbo culture for an Igbo person who comes of a certain age to change their name, to go by a different name that more suits them. I just had my Saturn return last year. It's all in the stars, yo. So I just thought that was very fascinating too. Just learning that it's a cultural thing as well to grow into your name. It also helped me just like not feel so nervous about deciding to go by Adobe, because it's a part of me. It's a part of my genetic makeup. It's a part of how I think. It's a part of how I see the world. And that's just is what it is. But yeah, my last name was created by my grandfather, my dad's father. It's not one of those last names that you can trace back and back and back and back and back again, because of it being such a cultural thing for Igbo people to change their names. Was like once they come of age or once they have like a certain form of enlightenment. My last name is Mosier. I asked my mom, I was trying to figure out like what does my name mean, because if you know Nigerian last names, Mosier is a little bit different. It's not a common last name, but long story short, it literally translates to spirit worker, mo dozier. If you know what dozier means, it means to fix, work on, make better, all that kind of stuff. Mo means spirit. So mo zier, mo dozier. Yeah, I just think it's very fascinating that my name has so much alignment with who I am at my core. I feel like a lot of people have that same kind of connection, but it's not an every person thing. And as a healer, as a community leader, as an artist, as a creative individual, to have the name Adobe Mosier is powerful to me. If I'm going to have a message, if I'm going to say something, I want to say it as Adobe. You know, I don't want to say it as Judy. She's cool, but this is who's speaking. This is who's reaching out. This is who's creating. This is who's doing it. That's me. Episode 1. I promise it's not always going to be about me. I'm very much a talkative person now. I'm very much a tangent type of individual. But I wanted to use this platform to, I guess we'll talk about me a lot. You know, I'm going to share some experiences, tell some stories. But I definitely wanted to use this as a way to just spread that message of self-care and build community around that. This whole being in alignment with myself and finding confidence in that and rooting myself in myself and my purpose. It just feels so nourishing. It feels good. I feel good. Things are making a lot more sense for me now. Long story short, it was hard in the beginning, but it was just a couple of moments that I can strongly remember where I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? But now I'm just like, this makes sense for me. And I'm just living in the gratitude of it all. In terms of self-care, this is like the most enriching thing that I've done for myself in a really long time. It's just resonating so deeply for me. And it's so grounding. I'm in love with just the journey that I'm on right now. I'm definitely going to be sharing my own experiences a lot, but I also want to bring other amazing, intelligent, wonderful people on here to share their stories and their experiences as well. But this space is very much self-care centered. I do believe that it is the best thing that we can do for ourselves in the world is to improve ourselves, work on ourselves, heal ourselves, love ourselves. This is just what we do here. Thank you if you've gotten to this spot. If you've come here and you're at this place, thank you. Thank you. Be peaceful, treat yourself right, and tune in for the next one. Bye.